let's find out. Let's see what's my volume at, my voice volume. Make sure not to lock my volume. I'm gonna raise it up a little bit. Hopefully, it is still audible. All right. I'm gonna lower my other volume here. Cool. Okay, cool. Uh, hey everybody, how's it going? Red you'll see me on the Discord as Athlete. I'm on the Try Hack Me server on Raíces Cyber Org, and I'm doing the dad thing right now. I got one kid on the computer doing pixel art, another one probably watching YouTube right this second. Um, so wow, that's an awesome chicken. Um, so don't be surprised if I get a little distracted. But here's an important thing. Somebody had asked that I go to the Windows Exploitation Basics um, section of Try Hack Me, and I guess they came out with another another module, and this one is the Active Directory Basics. This room will introduce the basic concepts and functionality provided by Active Directory. It's been a very long time since I've looked at any of this stuff, but somebody asked me to go through it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of go cold and try it out. So let's see. Active Directory Basics. This room will introduce the basic concept and functionality provided to Active Directory. It is the backbone of the corporate world. It simplifies the management of devices and users within a corporate environment. In this room, we'll take a deep dive into the essential components of Active Directory. Super important is for the OSCP now. It's like a brand new section. When I say brand new, I think they started up like February of 2022, something like that. So maybe not so new as technology goes, but I figured I'd give it a try. So in this room, we're going to do some topics like what an Active Directory is, what an Active Directory domain is, what components go into an Active Directory domain, forest and domain trust, and much more. So this seems like it's going to be a long room, but I'm going to try to do it as quickly as I can, I guess. Uh, Completely cold. I might be stumbling. If if you have any recommendations, feel free to let me know on how I can improve. So I guess with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a try. Cool. So general familiarity. Okay, so in order to do this room, they recommend that you have some Windows familiarity. There's also this Windows fundamentals module if you're curious about doing some more. So let's go take a look at that real quick. Might have done it. Yeah, I've done all of those before. So maybe I'll remember what I'm supposed to be doing here. Click complete. Whoop whoop, and we get a correct answer. So that was task 1. Task 2, we have the Windows domain. I'm going to click this start machine so that way we have time. Picture yourself administering a small business network with only 5 computers and 5 employees. In such a tiny network, you will probably be able to configure each computer separately without a problem. You will manually log into each computer, create users for whoever will use them, and make specific configurations for each employee's accounts. If a user's computer stops working, you will probably go to their place, fix the computer on site. Well, this sounds like a very relaxed lifestyle. Let's suppose your business suddenly grows and now has 157 computers and 320 different users located across 4 different offices. Would you still be able to manage each computer as a separate entity, manually configure policies for each of the users across the network, and provide on-site support for everyone? The answer is most likely no. To overcome these limitations, we can use a Windows domain. Simply put, a Windows domain is a group of users and computers under the administration of a given business. The main idea behind a domain is to centralize the administration of common components of a Windows computer network in a single repository called Active Directory. That server that runs the Active Directory services is known as a domain controller, a DC. The main advantages of having a configured Windows domain are centralized identity management. All users across the network can be configured from Active Directory with minimum effort. Managing security policies. You can configure security policies directly from Active Directory and apply them to users and computers across the network as needed. So, sounds good so far. And if this sounds a bit confusing, chances are that you've already interacted with a Windows domain at some point in your school, university, or work. In a school university network, you'll often be provided with a username and password that you can use on any other computers available on campus. Your credentials are valid for all machines because whenever you put them on a machine, it will forward the authentication process back to the Active Directory where your credentials will be checked. Thanks to Active Directory, your credentials won't need to exist in each machine and are available throughout the network. Active Directory is also a component that allows your school university to restrict you from accessing the control panel of your school university machines. Policies will usually be deployed throughout the network so you don't have to administer privileges over those computers. So, welcome to THM Inc. During this task, we'll assume the role of the new IT admin at THM Inc. As our first task, we'll have been asked to review the current domain, thm.local, and do some additional configurations. We have administrative credentials over a pre-configured domain controller to do the tasks. Be sure to click the Start Machine button now. Alright, did that. As you'll use the same machine for all tasks. This should open a machine in your browser. Should you prefer to connect to it via RDP, you can use the following credentials. That's what we're going to do. When connecting via RDP, use THM Administrator as the username to specify you want to log in as the administrator of the THM domain. Since we'll be connecting to the target machine via RDP, this is also a good time to start the attack box, unless you're using your own machine, which is what we're doing. Cool. So, in a Windows domain, credentials, so let's get to the questions and answers here. In a Windows domain, credentials are stored in a centralized repository called Active Directory, right? Alright, cool, correct. Ooh, I was scared. That was the first question. I got nervous. Alright, the server in charge of running the Active Directory services is called Domain Controller, I think. Alright, correct again. And they told us all that information here. Alright, task 3, Active Directory. Whoop, alright, lots of stuff. The core of any Windows domain is the Active Directory Domain Service, ADDS. This service acts as a catalog that holds the information of all the objects that exist on your network. Amongst the many objects supported by AD, we have users, groups, machines, printers, shares, and many others. Let's look at some of them. Users. Users are one of the most common object types in the Active Directory. Users are one of the objects known as security principals, meaning they can be authenticated by the domain and can be assigned privileges over resources like files and printers or printers. You can say that a security principal is an object that can act upon resources in a network. Cool. So users can be used to represent two types of entities, people and services. People. Users will generally represent persons in your organization that need access to the network like employees. Services. You can also define users to be used by services like IIS or MS SQL. I'm noticing something right now. This is why I'm not a pro streamer. My stream information is completely wrong. We are not at the Goblin Store. We are Active Directory Basics. Let's change that there. Alright. So, where were we? Okay, cool. So people, employees. Got it. Services. And that can be like IIS or MS, like MS SQL, Microsoft SQL. Every single service requires a user to run, but service users are different from regular users as they will only have the privileges needed to run their specific service. Machines. Machines are another type of object within Active Directory. For every computer that joins the Active Directory domain, a machine object will be created. Machines are also considered security principals and are assigned an account just like any regular user. This account has somewhat limited rights within the domain itself. The machine accounts themselves are local administrators on the assigned computer. They are generally not supposed to be accessed by anyone except the computer itself, but as with any other account, if you have the password, you can use it to log in. Note: machine account passwords are automatically rotated out and are generally comprised of 120 random characters. Oof, that's a lot. All right. Identifying machine accounts is relatively easy. They follow a specific naming scheme. The machine account name is the computer's name followed by a $. For example, the machine named DC01 will have the machine account called DC01 $. All right. Security groups. If you are familiar with Windows, you probably know that you can define user groups to assign access rights to files or other resources to entire groups instead of single users. This allows for better manageability, as you can add users to an existing group, and it will automatically inherit all the group's privileges. Security groups are also considered security principals and therefore can have privileges over resources on a network. Groups can have both users and machines as members. If needed, groups can include other groups as well. Groups within groups within groups. I heard you like groups. All right. Several groups are created by default in a domain that can be used to grant specific privileges to users. As an example, here are some of the most important groups in a domain. We have domain admins, server operators, backup operators, account operators, domain users, domain computers, domain controllers. I feel like somebody can make like a cool rap out of that. Alright, we got a whole bunch of these. You can obtain the complete list of default security groups from the documentation. Alright. Active Directory users and computers. To configure users, groups, or machines in Active Directory, you need to log into the main controller and run Active Directory users and computers from the start menu. Dope. Let's when we start logging into this thing, maybe we can do that. Alright. So what creds do we have? We had THM administrator and password is 321. So let's save some of that information here. Switcheroo, and we'll put that in our Kali. Password 321, and let's see, what is our IP address? Save that here. IP user pass. All right. Cool. So I'm just using this gedit to help me kind of organize any information that I want to keep in Kali, or that I'm going to need in Kali. Let's go here. Let's go ahead and start running a RDP. So remote desktop. That's not right. Okay, that's the IP. Alright. The user is THM, I believe. Let's go back. Administrator. And password was password 321. Cool. Negotiation failed. Why? Oh, freaked out. User name or password is incorrect. Oh, alright, let's try that again. There we go. What did I type? I don't know what happened there. All right, cool. So it looks like we got our remote desktop going. Dope. Cool. So now we did that. We set up our remote desktop. I'm going to go back to our Firefox and we'll start reading the directions that they wanted us to do here. All right, so we're going to go to the Active Directory users and computers from the start menu. All right. See if I can type in active and see if it pops up. Hey, all right, cool. All right, while it's loading up. All right, looks like we got Christine, Roberto, Sophie, and Thomas. All right. And let me change something real quick. All right, Califact, and we will use this one as Fear. Great. Cool. So now we go back to here. All right. This will open up a window where you can see the hierarchy of users, computers, and groups that exist in the domain. These objects are organized in organizational units, OUs, which are container objects that allow you to classify users and machines. OUs are mainly used to define sets of users with similar policing requirements. The people in the sales department of your organization are likely to have different sets of policies applied than the people in IT. For example, keep in mind that a user can only be a part of a single OU at a time. Checking our machine, we can see that there are already an OU called THM with the 4 child OUs in the IT, management, marketing, and sales departments. It is very typical to see OUs mimic the business structure, as it allows for efficiently deploying baseline policies that apply to entire departments. Remember that while this would be the expected model for most of the time, you can define OUs arbitrarily. Feel free to right-click the THM OU and create a new OU on it called the students, just for the fun of it. I like fun. Fun is cool. All right, switch that up. Go to here, under THM, and we said students, right? New. OU. Students. Protect from accidental deletion. We can do that. All right. Cool. So we did it. Sounds good. And it's done. If you open the OUs, you can see the users they contain and perform simple tasks like creating, deleting, or modifying them as needed. Yes, you can also reset passwords if needed. Pretty useful for the help desk. All right. Probably noticed that there are other default containers apart from the THM OU. These containers are created by Windows automatically and contain the following: a bulletin, computers, domain controllers, users, managed service accounts. All right. Cool. Security groups versus OUs. You're probably wondering why we have both groups and OUs. While both are used to classify users and computers, their purposes are entirely different. OUs are handy for applying policies to users and computers, which include specific configurations that pertain to sets of users depending on their particular role in the enterprise. Remember, a user can only be a member of a single OU at a time, as it wouldn't make sense to try to apply 2 different sets of policies to a single user. Security groups, on the other hand, are used to grant permissions over resources. Ooh, okay. For example, if you will use groups if you want to allow some users to share access a share folder or network printer. A user can be a part of many groups, which is needed to grant access to multiple resources. All right. So, which group normally administrates all computers and resources in a domain? Well, multiple groups, resources in the domain. I'm gonna say security groups, right? That's what we just read. Let's see if that's correct. Security groups. No, false. What did I do wrong here? Oh, okay. Administer groups, administrate. Let's go back to the question, and I'm gonna. Which group normally administrates all computers and resources in a domain? Go to the groups, computers and resources. This is for all existing computers. This is for domain controllers, domain admins. Okay, so domain admins might be the right answer here. So let's copy that. We're gonna pop it in here. Hey, cool. All right, so you should only have a certain, like, you should make sure that your domain admins are correct, that they're verified, that you don't have a rogue domain admin. All right. What would be the name of the machine account associated with machine named Tom-PC? What would be the name of the machine account associated with the machine named Tom-PC? So I think maybe I gotta go back to Kali and see what exists over there. I could be wrong though. All right. Machine account associated with the machine named Tom-PC. So right now I'm just kind of searching through the THM OU? No, group. See Thomas here. It's a user. Member of... I don't even know if I really understand the question. Let's go back to it. Name of the machine account. So let's go back and see where they talk about machine accounts again. Okay, machine accounts themselves. So we'll have a machine account. So if the machine is named this, the machine account usually has a $sign after it. So I'm gonna guess that is probably the correct thing here. So Tom PC and a $sign. All right, whoop whoop, answer's correct. Got it. Suppose our company creates a new department for quality assurance. What type of containers should we use to group all quality assurance users so that policies can be applied consistently in them? So what type of containers? Quality assurance. So if we want to apply policies, we want the organizational units, right? Organizational units. All right, whoop whoop. Answer correct. Cool. So far, so good. I think we're getting the hang of it. A little bit of a stumble there, but we're doing it. We're doing it. Your first task. We're on task 4. How is this our first task? All right. Your first task as the new domain administrator is to check the existing AD/OUs and users. Some recent changes have happened in the business, or to the business. You've been given the following organizational chart and are expected to make changes to the AD to match it. So we have Daniel in management, Mark, Sophie, Thomas. All right. So delete extra OUs and users. The first thing you should notice is that there are additional department OUs in your current AD configuration that doesn't appear in the chart. We've been told it was closed due to budget cuts and should be removed from the domain. If you try to right-click it and delete the OU, you'll get the following error. You don't have sufficient privileges. So by default, OUs are protected. We saw that. To delete the OU, we need to enable advanced features in the view menu. This will show you some additional containers enabled to disable the accidental deletion protection. Cool. That's what we saw when we created a brand new one. And so let's start with the students one we created. See if we can get rid of that. Yeah. So right click. What do we say? Go to properties. No, that's not right. Let's go back to our thing here. You have the right click and delete the UOU. Says no. So go to view. Okay. That's where we need to go. So go back. We'll cancel that. Click view. Advanced features. And what was the advanced feature that we wanted to get? Object. All right. Going back. Going back. Ooh, that went away. Excuse me. So I'm in THM again. I'm in student. I go to properties. I go to object. Now I can remove that. Cool. And I'm going to try to right click and delete and see how that works. Remove the student. Yes. Okay. So we have IT management, marketing, research and development, and sales. And if we take a look at our organizational chart, we need management, marketing, sales, IT. Management, marketing, sales, IT. Cool. So we'll go back to our Cali. Management, marketing. Oops, that's not what I want. Let's see if I can copy pasta or if it gets grumpy. Great. Manage more marketing, sales, and IT. Manage it, marketing, sales, and IT. We no longer need the research and development. We are, let's go to properties, make sure we're in the right thing. Object, remove it. Remove the protect object from accidental deletion, right click, and then delete. All right, cool. Object research and development contains other objects. Are you sure you don't want to delete this object, research and development, and all of its objects? Excuse me. Well, let's go back to our Firefox, make sure that we're actually like doing what we're supposed to be doing here. Yeah. Okay. After deleting the extra, you should notice that for some of the departments, the use in 80 don't match the ones in our organizational chart. Create and delete users as needed. All right. So let's go back to IT. And I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to try to see if I can access actually I don't want to do that. Alright, so the changes that we need to make, excuse me. Alright, so we have Daniel in management, it's supposed to be there. In marketing, we have Mark, alright, cool. Sales, we have Sophie and Thomas are the only ones that are supposed to be there. So Robert and Christine need to get gone. See if we can delete them. Cool. And IT. Claire, Mary, Philip. Claire, Mary, Philip. Alright, dope. So with that, we got rid of all the people. Oh, interesting. Delegation. One of the nice things that you can do in AD is to give specific users some control over some OUs. This process is known as delegation and allows you to grant users specific privileges to perform advanced tasks on OUs without needing a domain administrator to step in. One of the most common use cases for this is granting IT support the privileges to reset other low-privilege users' passwords. According to our organizational chart, Philip is in charge of IT support, so we'll probably want to delegate the control of resetting passwords over the sales, marketing, and management OUs to him. So for this example, we'll delegate control over the sales OU to Philip. To delegate control over an OU, you right-click it and to select Delegate Control, which opens up a new window, and then you can start adding some stuff. Right. Avoid mistyping the user's name. Right, Philip, and click the check names. Okay, cool. So Philip, we're gonna give him sales powers. Okay, so Philip, right-click, delegate. Hold on a second. Alright, so what did we say? How do we delegate this stuff? Open a window, right click, delegate control. So that's over the sales is what we need to do it. So we'll go to our Cali, we'll go over sales, right click it, delegate control, delegation wizard, sweet. And fill. See if fill works. If fill pops up. Cool. And we want to make sure that he can change passwords or reset passwords, right? Reset user passwords, force them to blah. Alright, hopefully that worked alright. We'll go back to our Firefox. Click next a couple times. You should now be able to reset passwords for any users in the sales department. While you'd probably want to repeat these steps to delegate the password resets of the marketing and management departments, we'll leave it here for this task. You are free to continue to configure the rest of the OUs if you desire. Now let's use Philip's account to try and reset Sophie's. Here's Philip's credits. So Philip and Claire 2008. So user Philip 2000. Ooh, that's weird. Why you naming your password Claire, sir? Is it your daughter? Either way, it's bad. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Cool. So we could RDP using set account password Sophie reset. Oh, this is a PowerShell script or line. What do you call this? Is it a PowerShell script? No, it's a one-liner command. PowerShell command. Sounds all right. All right. Let's go log in as Philippe. We'll go this way. New terminal. And our desktop. And Philip's password was Claire 2008. Maybe it was his pet frog or something. Who knows? See if we can. Oop. Darn, that's not what we want. It's gonna yell at us. Oh, it's probably gonna yell at us anyway, right? Alright, so we are Philip. We're logged in. Cool. So I guess we're gonna run a PowerShell script. PowerShell. Cool. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna copy this. And hopefully that'll work correctly for us. Loading at the directory, performing. The password does not meet the password requirements. Alright, so let's see what Firefox tells us to do. Oh, maybe I didn't set the password? And it just got grumpy? Let's go back. Let's back. Verbose. No, okay, so that looks good. And then it should be... Make sure it didn't like new line it or something. Aha! Alright, cool. So, copy pasta did not want to work, and I wonder if that's where our issue with our friend lies. Hold on a second, I got the kiddo talking to me. Kiddo wanted a specific, what's it called? A Sims 4 update. She gotta wait for her birthday, man. Alright, so we did that. We need to set the password. Did it tell us what they wanted us to set the password to? Since we want Sophie to keep on using a password, we know we force password reset. Cool. Right. Hold on. Alright. Sorry about that again. So, let's see. So we could also just force a password change. But let's go ahead and we'll give a password here. Let's see if it allows us to change the password successfully. I think I know what the problem is. Okay. Go back here. Let's see the command, the PowerShell command. Go back here. All right. So maybe I should just type it in. Set AD user. Oop, froze. I tried to tab complete and it decided that it didn't want to. There we go. change password at logon. True. Identity Sophie verbose. Let's see, the term AD users is not recognized as the name of a commandlet. AD, oh, duh, because it's AD user, not users. Alright, so we're good on that now, yeah? So now we'll go back to here. When connecting via RDP, try to use the Sophie username to specify you want to log in on that domain. Let's see if I can. See if that'll work. Oh my gosh. Alright. Typos galore, typos galore. Alright, cool. If you take a look at the screen, it appears that the user's password must be changed before signing in. So we'll go ahead and change it, and we'll just password 1. Password 1. Alright. Password 321. Password 321. And see if that works. Oh. Is this why I'm no good at passwords? Just give me a password manager and call it a day, man. Alright. Oh no. So, just watching some dude fat finger a password all day can't be the most interesting thing, but the good news is that we did it. The password is changed. We're logging in as Sophie now. We're doing the thing. Awesome. So, let's go back to our Firefox. What was a flag found on the desktop? Cool. We got a Flagorino. Thanks for contacting support. Let's see if I can copy this or if it'll get grumpy at me. Cool. Process of granting privileges to a user over OU over AD object is called delegation. Delegating. Delegation. Cool. Oh boy. Alright, so that got us through task 4. Let's see, we've been going for 45 minutes now. We're about halfway done. My kiddo's playing Spore right now. It's crazy. Alright. By default, all the machines that join a domain except for the DCs will be put in the container called computers. If we check our DC, we will see that some devices are already there. We can see, excuse me. We can see some servers, some laptops, and some PCs corresponding to the users in our network. Having all our devices there is not the best idea, since it's very likely that you want different policies for your servers and the machines that regular users use on a daily basis. While there is no golden rule on how to organize your machines, an excellent starting point is segregating devices according to their use. In general, you'd expect to see devices divided into at least three of the following categories: workstations, servers, and domain controllers. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's focus on this domain controllers part. Domain controllers are the third most common device within an Active Directory domain. Domain controllers allow you to manage that Active Directory domain. These devices are often the most sensitive devices within the network as they contain hashed passwords for all users' accounts in the environment. Since we are tidying up our AD, let's create two separate OUs for workstations and servers. Domain controllers are already in the OU created by Witness. We will be creating them directly under the THM local domain container. In the end, you should have the following OU structure. So workstations and servers. Alright. So we will keep that in mind as we move on over to You alright there, kiddo? What's happening? Tell me what's happening over there. What's happening?
This is my food.
Something's eating your food? Are you being eaten? What's going on? Something eating your face? Alright, THM local. Do we have... Oh, they're all under computers, right? Alright, so we need to add new groups. OUs. So one is for workstations and one is for servers. Alright, so we're going to move all the personal stuff into workstations. Looks like these guys here. Workstations. Moving objects, yeah, sure. Looks like laptops here. Oh, we almost forgot Claire. Oh, Claire. Claire has her own computer. Alright. So, let's go back. Try to answer the question. If they're organized in the available computers, how many ended up in the workstations OU and workstations? Let's see what that was. Workstations, we got 1, 2, 3 laptops for PCs. So I think a total of 7 should be the correct answer. But we shall see. Alright, is it recommendable to create separate OUs for servers and workstations? Yay or nay? And as we just went through, it's an easy one. Yay. Dope. Alright, group policies. Ooh, complicated. Pictures. Nice. So far, we have organized users and computers in OUs just for the sake of it, but the main idea behind this is to be able to deploy different policies for each OU individually. That way, we can push different configurations and security baselines to users depending on their department. Windows manages such policies through group policy objects. GPOs are simply a collection of settings that can be applied to OUs. GPOs can contain policies aimed at either users or computers, allowing you to set a baseline for specific machines and identities. To configure GPOs, you can use the Group Policy Management tool available from the Start menu. Cool. So we want to go to the Start menu, and we want to go to Group Policy. Try that again. Group Policy. All right. See, who are we? I think we're good. All right, group policy. So let's go back to our Firefox. First thing you will see when opening it is your complete OU hierarchy. As defined before, to configure group policies, ooh, group policies, riveting. So, you first create a GPO and a group policy and link it to the GPO where you want the policies to apply. For example, you can see there are some already existing GPOs in your machine. So, let's see that. Domain policy, the default domain policy, got it. What? IDP policy, cool. Then domain controllers has one. And then group policy objects. Cool. We can see in the image above that the GPOs have been created, default, RDP, and THM local for as a whole. And default domain controller policy is linked to the domain controllers, only. Something important to have in mind is that any GPO will apply to the linked OU and any sub-OUs under it. For example, sales OU will be affected by the default domain policy. Let's examine the default domain policy. Sure. See what's it. You'll see the first tab you see is the scope. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Cool. Scope. Got it. Scope is THM local. As you can see, you can apply security filtering to GPOs so that they are only applied to specific users and computers. By default, they will apply to the authenticated users group, which includes all users' PCs. So the settings tab includes the actual contents of the GPO and will let us know what specific configuration it applies. As stated above, each GPO has configurations that apply to computers only and configurations that apply to users only. In this case, the default domain policy only contains computer configurations. So we'll go to settings. It's got a little report. Cool. No settings for computer users. Cool. Feel free to explore the GPO and expand the available items using the show. Alright, switch this up here and go back to this. Alright, so since the GPO, hey, how's it going, B? Sphinx. Well, somebody had asked me to do this and just kind of go through it. I guess they're stuck someplace. They didn't say where they were stuck, so just running through it cold, you know. Learning a little bit about Active Directory basics here, and I guess completing the room. I'll go back real quick. I've done all this before, but this is a new room that they threw under the Windows Exploitation Basics section. And it's been a very long time, so Active Directory is super important for, business in general, if you're going to be an IT administrator, but also since I'm going to be trying to pass the OSCP, the more I know about Active Directory, the better chances I'm going to have to actually pass it. So, yeah, I guess Vince, you could say I'm trying to learn Active Directory. Cool. Let's see. All right, where were we? We can edit the default domain policy and open a new window where you can navigate and edit all the available configurations. To change the minimum password length, go to Computer Configurations Policies, Windows Setting, Computer Settings, Account Policies, Password Policy, and change the required policy value. So I guess it says 10 and we're going to change it, or maybe we're going to change it from 10 to something else. So let's go take a look at that, I guess. Password policy, password policy. Default. Got it. All right, where were we? So we'll go back to the Windows settings. Computer default policy, domain default policy. Then we can go to right click and oh, do we need to add another one? Because we have the default domain controllers, but we don't have, oh, there it is. Got it. Default domain policy. Now we can right click it, we can go edit it. And now that we've done that, computer configurations, policies, Windows settings, security settings, account policies, and password policy. All right. So we have it currently at 7 characters, and we want to see if we can change it to 10. Cool. Easy enough. Oh, I guess you can also get to explain. Default domain policy. Yeah, you're right. Under the security settings. Yep, you're right. Thanks, Sphinx. Appreciate that. I gotta get this set up so that way there's less delay. I don't know. More real time. I think it helped with dropped frames or something that I was having at some point. But it looks like I got 0.0% drop frames at now, so I might have to switch things up so I can see responses in real time. Alright. So, where were we? So we can go there, we can go have it explain some stuff. Got words, cool. I think we're good on that. GPOs are distributed to the network via a network share called sysvol, which is stored in the DC. All users in the domain should typically have access to the share over the network to sync their GPOs periodically. The sysvol share points to the default points by default to the C Windows sysvol directory on each of the DCs in our network. Okay. So once a change has been made to any GPO, it might take up to 2 hours for computers to catch up. If you want to force any particular computer to sync up its GPO immediately, you can always run the following command on the desired computer. Okay. So PowerShell GPU update force. Got it. Creating some GPOs for THM Inc. As part of our new job, we have been tasked with implementing some GPOs to allow us to block non-IT users from accessing the control panel, make workstations and servers lock their screens automatically after 5 minutes of user inactivity. Oh, that's so annoying, but I get it. To avoid people leaving their sessions exposed. Let's focus on each of those to define what policies we should enable in each GPO and where they should be linked. All right. So restrict access to control panel. Let's call, all right, this is what we're gonna call that one and open it for editing. Actually, does this work? Ooh, that might actually work kinda nice. I'm gonna switch up something here, I think, on my hopefully screen is still like visible by folks. Okay. Let me know if that gets to be annoying or whatever. Actually, I don't know how much I like it myself. There we go. Now we can stop switching between the two. All right, cool. Is that visible? Can you actually read the words, or is it too small now? Looks fine. All right, cool. Thanks, I appreciate it. Let me know if there's any other issues. All right. Restrict control panel access. We're going to create a new GPO. So since we want this GPO to apply to specific users, we'll look under the user configuration. So these are Windows settings here. We don't need that. We need administrative templates. We want control panel. User accounts? No. Alright. If we go here, there's a number of settings, user accounts. Apply the default account picture to all users. Oh, maybe we can add from here. Notice we have enabled, alright, that doesn't look right to me. So software, Windows settings, administrative control, correct. Control panel looks good. I'm under the computer config, I need user. Ah, okay, yep. I was like, that does not look right. Using configuration, that's much better. Cool, cool. Thanks, Beastbanks, I appreciate it. Alright, now we go under policies, and now things should look much better. Control panel, aha! Awesome. Minimize the computer config at the top, and the user config at bottom. Gotcha. Yeah, at some point, I think for the next round of me doing this, I'm going to go ahead and try to fix my delay. And I think that'll work. All right, cool. All right, so notice we have enabled the prohibit, blah, blah, blah. It's currently not configured. Let's see what I could do here. Enable. Cool. All right, cool. So that's good. We've enabled that. Once the GPO is configured, we need to link it to all the OUs corresponding to users who shouldn't have access to the control panel of their PCs. In this case, we will link the marketing, management, and sales OUs by dragging the GPOs to each of them. Okay, so taking a look at so this is the group policy management editor. Group policy management. Let's see if I go to group policy objects. I believe that's this one here. See if I refresh this, it'll pop up. It is not. Notice we have enabled the prohibit access, blah, blah, blah. We did that. But if we go down here to group policy objects, so am I looking at the correct thing? Do I gotta like add one? and call it restrict control panel access. I think I'm going off script here. That can't be good. We want to restrict access. Cool. Let's create a new GPO. Okay, so we did that and open it for editing. Got it. Since we want this GPO to apply to specific users, we will look under user configuration for the following policy. Alright, so that's what I had skipped earlier. So I just added it. Once the GPO is configured, we need to link all the ones. In this case, we'll do that. So if I go back to the management, this one here, now we should see, haha, restrict panel access. And we're going to want to drag it to each of the different things in the domain. I feel like we're missing something though, no? Maybe they'll get to that later. Marketing, management. So that looks the same. Authenticate users, that looks the same. All this looks the same. All right. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something here. Because I created in the GPO. I have it linked, but it doesn't tell. Like, it doesn't have the rules of the GPO, just who it's supposed to be working. Like who's in charge? Not know who's in charge, but who's linked to it. I feel like I'm missing something here. Close it out. Alright. For the first GPO regarding screen locking for workstations and servers, we could directly apply it over the workstation servers and domain controllers ways we created previously. While the solution should work, an alternative consists of simply applying the GPO to the root domain, as we want the GPOs to affect all our computers. Since workstation servers, domain controllers are child OUs of the root domain, it will inherit its processes. Now you might notice that if our GPO is applied to the root domain, it will also be inherited by other OUs like sales and marketing. Since OUs contain users only and computer configuration, our GPO will be ignored by them. Okay. So I'll create a new one. We go back to our group policy management editor. We go to, we want to create something called auto lock screen. New auto lock screen. Apply, then the policy, and then edit it. All right. The policy to achieve what we want is located in the following root. Oh, okay. So I think we have to. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to make a new one. Lock screen. No. Okay, so that doesn't do anything. Edit it. So I'm in the group policy management editor. I am looking at computer configuration. Where are you? This does not seem the same. Group policy management error. Oh, I was looking at Two protocols can be used for network authentication in Windows domains: Kerberos and Landman, NT Landman, NT Next Technology, I think, right? Landman. Legacy authentication protocol kept for compatibility purposes. All right. While NTLM should be considered obsolete, most networks will have both protocols enabled. Let's take a deeper look at how each of these protocols work. Ooh, all right. Kerberos. Let's go look at the questions and see what they're gonna want from us. Will a current version of Windows use NetNTLM as the preferred authentication? So automatically, we already know it's no from like the first paragraph. So I will allow you to read through all that if you'd like. So when referring to Kerberos, what type of ticket allows us to request further tickets known as the TGS? So what type of ticket allows us to request further tickets known as TGS? So I believe it's ticket granting tickets, but let's see. Yeah. So let's go ahead. We're gonna try that out, and that worked. Since they had it, they talked about it in the answer key. Let's talk about it. Whew. Okay, so when Kerberos is used for authentication, the following process happens. The user sends their username and a timestamp encrypted using a key derived from their password to the KDC, the Key Distribution Center, a service usually installed on the domain controller in charge of creating Kerberos tickets on the network. To me, it kind of reminds me of like you buy, like you want to go to a circus or something. You want to go to a fair, a concert. You send your information to like Ticketmaster. You're like, hey, give me a ticket, please. They send you back a ticket granting ticket, which will allow the user to request additional tickets to access specific services. So like I don't know if you've ever been to a boardwalk or whatever, or Disney or something. You pay to get in, and then like there's additional stuff on the inside that you want to go do. Well, you go to like a ticket booth that gives you tickets that are specifically for like the Tilt-A-Whirl, or tickets specifically for, some Ferris wheel or something. That's kind of what it reminds me of. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody else. So, the KDC will create and send back a ticket granting ticket, which will allow the user to request additional tickets for specific services. The need for a ticket to get more tickets may sound a bit weird, but allows the user to request service tickets without passing the credentials every time they want to connect to a service. So, does that make any kind of sense to anybody else? Like, have you ever seen that before? Like, have you ever been to a fair or something where, like, you pay a fee to get in to the thing in the first place? They check your ID or whatever, and then they have, like, little ticket booths on the inside to be able to go do specific, like, games. That's the only thing that comes to mind. If that resonates with you at all, let me know. If not, if I'm crazy, please. All right, so when using NetNTLM is a user's password transmitted over the network at any point. So let's take a look at this little picture here. So send, challenge, response, allow, deny authentication. So the client sends an authentication request to the server they want to access. The server generates a random number and sends it as a challenge to the client. The client combines their password, or the password hash, with a challenge to generate a response to the challenge. So you're sending back the password hash with the challenge. They forward that challenge and the response to a domain controller to verify it, and then the domain controller does their calculations. So this right here says that the password or hash is never transmitted through the network for security. So we can say nay here. All right. I am not super great at this at all. I never will claim to be. Highly recommend you check it out. Uh, Maybe you can explain it to me. All right. So we do have domains or trees, forests, and trusts. So I think this is kind of cool. But it's all right. Let's go step by step here. So far we've discussed how to manage a single domain, the role of a domain controller, and how it joins computers, servers, and users. As companies grow, so do their networks. Having a single domain for a company is good enough to start, but in time, some additional needs might push you into having more than one. So, trees. Imagine, for example, that suddenly a company expands to a new country. The new country has different laws, regulations that require you to update your GPS to comply. In addition, you now have IT people in both countries, and each IT team needs to manage the resources that correspond to each country without interfering with the other team. While you can create a complex OU structure and use delegation to achieve this, having a huge AD structure might be hard to manage and be prone to human errors. You add complexity, right? Luckily for us, Active Directory supports integrating multiple domains so that you can partition your network into units that can be managed independently. If you have two domains that share the same namespace, THM local in our example, those domains can be joined into a tree. If our THM local domain was split into two subdomains for UK and US branches, you could build a tree with a root domain of THM local and two subdomains of uk.thm local and us.thm local, each with its Active Directory, computers, and users. So here's the mommy, right? She has two little babies, the UK and the US, or whatever you want to say. I don't know, whatever. This partition structure gives us a better control over users, over who can access what in the domain. The IT people from UK will have their own DC that manages the UK resources only. For example, UK users will not be able to manage US users. In that way, the domain administrators of each branch will have complete control over their respective DCs, but not other branches' DCs. Policies can also be configured independently for each domain industry. A new security group needs to be introduced when talking about trees and forests. The enterprise admins group will grant a user administrative privileges over all the enterprise's domains. Each domain would still have its domain admins with administrative privileges over their single domains, and the enterprise admins can control everything in an enterprise. So, important here, enterprise admins grant a user administrative privileges over all of the enterprise's domains. So, you have domain admins and then you have enterprise admins. So, force. The domains you manage can also be configured in different namespaces. Suppose your company continues growing and eventually acquires another company called MHT Incorporated, or Inc. When both companies merge, you will probably have different domain trees for each company, each managed by its own IT department. The union of several trees with different namespaces into the same network is called a forest. So you have THM and MHT. So now we have trust relationships. Having multiple domains organized in trees and forests allows you to have a nice compartmentalized network in terms of management and resources, but at a certain point, a user in THM UK might need to access a shared file in one of the MHT Asia servers. For this to happen, domains arranged in trees and forests are joined together by trust relationships. In simple terms, having a trust relationship between domains allows you to authorize. Sorry, Jersey came out. A little spasm there. Authorize a user from domain THM UK to access resources from domain MHT EU. The simplest trust relationship that can be established is a one-way trust relationship. In a one-way trust, If domain A or a domain AAA and domain triple B, if domain AAA trusts domain triple B, that means a user on triple B can be authorized to access resources on AAA. So, I trust you, so you have access to all my stuff. Cool. The direction of one-way trust relationship is contrary to that of the access direction. Two-way trust relationships can also be made to allow both domains to mutually authorize users from the other. By default, joining several domains under a tree or a forest will form a two-way trust relationship. It is important to note that having a trust relationship between domains doesn't automatically grant access to all the resources on other domains. Once a trust relationship is established, you have the chance to authorize users across different domains, but it's up to you to actually what is actually authorized or not. All right, so let's see. What is a group of Windows domains that share the same namespace called? So the same namespace. They're all under the THM logo, right? So trees, I think. Let's see if I'm wrong. Trees. Oh, tree, not trees. What should be configured between two domains for a user in domain A to access resources in domain B? And that is a trust relationship. Or should be. Alright. Whew, finally, alright. Let's get down to the wire here. In this room, we have shown the basic components and concepts related to Active Directories and Windows domains. Keep in mind that this room should only serve as an introduction to basic concepts, as there's quite a bit more to explore and implement in a production-ready Active Directory environment. If you're interested in learning how to secure an Active Directory installation, be sure to check out the Active Directory hardening room to be released soon. Ooh, can't wait. If, on the other hand, you'd like to know how attackers can take advantage of common AD misconfigurations and other AD hacking techniques, the compromising Active Directory module is the way to go. So go ahead and click here. We did some learning. Yay! All right, round of applause. Good job, everybody. You made it. We got to the end here. Let's redeem some tickets. Cool. What's this all about? A Hacks Rubber Ducky. All right, what we got? A Red Teamer. See my tickets. Cool. Let's go to tweets. The tweets. What kind of tweets we got out here? We did it, everybody. Good job. All right. Cool. So there's more rooms that you can go to. I am gonna go ahead and open that tab up. See what's up. I believe I did this one, but I could be wrong. Breaching Active Directory. Oh no, looks like I haven't. Looks like that's gonna be something I gotta go play with. So, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I hope that answered the question of the individual who. I'm gonna open a private window here and see if it breaks all the things, and see if that gave them what they needed. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick and read to you what their question was. So the question was, any help on the Active Directory room by Munra, or Moonra. Windows Exploitation Basics, Active Directory Basics, and that's what we just did, right? The room directly after Windows Fundamentals 2 and before Metasploit. I'm stuck and cannot progress. Any help would be greatly appreciated. I've already done this room without problems. Thanks. So I'm not sure exactly, but where the issue was, but hopefully they have what they need. And with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'll probably upload this to YouTube at some point. If you want to hang out with me over at the Raices cyber org, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I'll get you the link. I'm also on the Try Hack Me server from time to time. So other than that, take care.